The box felt wrong in my hands. 27 Christmas presents stacked beneath our tree, and not one had my name on it. I stood there in my pajamas, coffee growing cold on the mantel, watching my family tear through wrapping paper like they'd forgotten I existed. The sound of tape ripping seemed to echo against my ribs. My nephew Jake held up a gaming laptop, the exact model I'd researched and recommended to my sister Beth just before Thanksgiving. "Thanks, Mom," he squealed. "This is perfect for college." Beth's smile stretched wide as she accepted his hug. "I knew you'd love it, honey. I spent months researching the best one." The metallic taste in my mouth intensified. I'd sent her that research in a 12-page email, complete with price comparisons and technical specifications. She'd responded with a thumbs-up emoji. "My name is Olivia. I'm 34 and a systems analyst. This is the story of how I made my family finally see me." Every year, I told myself Christmas would be different. This time, they'd remember I was more than a convenient bank account with a heartbeat. But as I watched my father unwrap the expensive fishing gear Beth had chosen, I recognized my own Amazon recommendations from our conversation last month. The pattern crystallized like ice forming on glass. My research, their credit. My suggestions, their recognition. My expertise, invisible. "Liv, could you clean up this wrapping paper?" Mom called without looking up from her new silk scarf. Another gift Beth had taken credit for after I'd spent an hour at the department store helping her pick between colors. I knelt among the discarded ribbons, collecting evidence of my own erasure. Each crumpled bough felt like a small betrayal, but the real gut punch came when I overheard Beth whispering to our cousin Maria in the kitchen. "I don't know why Olivia even bothers coming. She never brings anything meaningful. Always the practical gifts, never any thought behind them." Beth's laugh was sharp. "Remember that boring financial planning software she got Dad last year? So typical." My hand stilled on a piece of red tissue paper. The financial planning software that had helped Dad organize his retirement accounts and saved him $3,000 in fees. The boring gift that he'd called me to thank me for 3 different times. Maria's voice drifted back, sympathetic. "Well, not everyone can be thoughtful like you, Beth." I stood slowly, tissue paper cascading from my fingers like snow. The living room continued its celebration around me. A family of 6 plus extended relatives, and not one person had noticed I'd been kneeling on the floor for 10 minutes. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and a legal pad, something clicking into place in my mind. If I was going to be invisible, I might as well use it strategically. I started with the obvious question. How much of their Christmas generosity had actually come from my brain? The answer was worse than I'd imagined. 23 gifts, 16 of them sourced from my recommendations over the past year. Beth had screenshotted our text conversations, copied my Amazon wish lists, even used my Costco membership to buy bulk gifts she'd later wrapped individually. But the deeper I dug, the more I uncovered. Beth's reputation as the family gift guru was built entirely on my research. She'd been forwarding my product reviews and recommendations to extended family for years, positioning herself as the thoughtful one while I remained the practical sister who didn't understand the spirit of giving. My phone buzzed. A text from Beth. "Thanks for helping clean up today. You're so good at the behind-the-scenes stuff." Behind the scenes. Like I was the crew, not the family. I opened a new document on my laptop and started typing. If Beth wanted to be the star of this show, she was going to have to earn it. The next morning, I sent carefully crafted messages to each family member. "Hey Dad, just wanted to let you know I'm switching careers and won't be able to do product research anymore. My new job requires complete focus. Hope you understand. Mom, I'm taking a break from shopping recommendations for a while, trying to declutter my mind, you know? Jake, I know you love that laptop, but I won't be able to help with tech advice going forward. Time to spread your wings." Within hours, my phone was buzzing. Dad needed help finding a replacement for his broken drill. Mom couldn't decide between 2 vacuum cleaners. Jake's laptop was already having software issues. I responded to each with variations of the same message. "I'm sure Beth can help. She's so good at this stuff." By the 3rd day, the panic was setting in. Beth called me directly. Liv, what's going on? Everyone's asking me about products I've never heard of. Dad wants something called a oscillating multi-tool, and I don't even know what that means. I kept my voice light. Isn't that your specialty? Everyone's always saying how thoughtful and knowledgeable you are about gifts. But you're the one who... She paused, realizing what she was about to admit. I mean, I just think you'd be better at the research part. Sorry, Beth. Like I said, I'm stepping back from all that, but I have complete confidence in your abilities. The beautiful thing about my plan was its simplicity. I didn't have to actively sabotage anyone. I just had to stop being their invisible foundation and let them try to stand alone. By the end of January, the cracks were showing. Dad had bought the wrong replacement parts for his workshop 3 different times. Mom's expensive skincare routine was causing breakouts because she'd grabbed products without checking ingredients. Jake's laptop was running slowly because he downloaded questionable software, and Beth couldn't troubleshoot it. And Beth? Beth was drowning. Extended family members were calling her with increasingly complex questions. Which smart TV should we get for our elderly parents? What's the best car seat for a premature baby? How do we choose between these 2 mortgage lenders? She'd built her reputation on my knowledge, and without my research, she was exposed. Someone who could wrap presents beautifully, but couldn't distinguish between a rotor and a modem. The breaking point came during Valentine's Day. Beth called me crying. Liv, I need help. Tom wants me to help him pick out an engagement ring for his girlfriend, but I don't know anything about diamonds or settings or cut quality. I told him I'd research it, but I have no idea where to start. Everyone thinks I'm this gift expert, but I'm not. I never was. I let the silence stretch between us. I know you're taking a break from this stuff, she continued, but could you make an exception? Just this once? I'm sorry, Beth. I really can't, but you'll figure it out. You're so naturally good at this stuff, right? Her sob was audible through the phone. No, I'm not. I never was. It was always you. Every gift idea, every product recommendation, every suggestion. It all came from you. I just took credit for it. Finally, the admission I'd been waiting for. Why? I asked simply. Because... Her voice broke. Because you made it look so easy, and everyone was always impressed when I'd suggest something perfect, and it felt good to be seen as the thoughtful one for once. You were already the smart one, the successful one. I wanted to be good at something too. I understood envy. I even understood taking credit where it wasn't due. But what I couldn't understand was the systematic erasure, the way she'd positioned me as thoughtless while building herself up on my work. Beth, I said carefully, do you remember what you told Maria on Christmas about me never bringing anything meaningful? She was quiet. You said that about gifts that came from hours of my research, my time, my knowledge, while you were upstairs wrapping things I'd helped you choose. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean... Yes, you did, and that's the problem. I hung up. The family gathering for Mom's birthday in March was enlightening. I watched them navigate gift-giving without me, and it was like watching people try to cook without knowing what salt was. Dad gave Mom an exercise bike she couldn't use because of her knee problems. Jake got her a book in a genre she'd never shown interest in. Beth's gift was beautiful, wrapping around a skincare set that contained ingredients Mom was allergic to. Mom opened each gift with forced enthusiasm, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. These weren't thoughtful gifts chosen with care. They were generic offerings that revealed how little attention my family actually paid to each other. After the gifts, I was helping Mom in the kitchen when she turned to me with tired eyes. Livy, what happened to all the perfect gifts? The ones that showed people really knew us? I dried a plate slowly. What do you mean, Mom? You know, like that planning software for your father or the ergonomic pillow for my neck pain last year. Gifts that showed real thought. I looked at her carefully. Those came from me, Mom. I researched them, suggested them, sometimes even bought them. Her face changed as the pieces fell into place. But Beth always said... Beth took credit for my work, for years. Mom's shoulders sagged. She leaned against the counter, staring at the pile of return receipts accumulating from today's gift disasters. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. We didn't see—" "No," I said gently. "You didn't, and that's something I need you to sit with." The confrontation came 2 weeks later at Sunday dinner. I'd been invited by Mom, who was clearly trying to repair what had been broken. The whole family was there, including extended relatives. Beth started the evening by attempting to regain her footing. "I've been doing so much research lately," she announced. "I found this amazing article about the best kitchen gadgets for 2025. I pulled out my phone and opened my browsing history. "You mean this article from consumerreports.com that I bookmarked and shared in our family group chat 3 days ago?" The table went silent. Beth's face flushed. I didn't say I wrote it." "No, but you implied you found it. Just like you've implied you were the source of every good gift idea in this family for the past 5 years. Dad looked confused. "What are you talking about?" I opened my laptop. I'd come prepared, and projected my screen onto the TV. "This is my Amazon account. These are my wish lists, my research notes, my saved items. And this—" I opened Beth's Facebook page, scrolling through years of posts about finding the perfect gift and knowing just what everyone needs. This is how she presented my work to the world. The evidence was overwhelming. Screenshots of my research in her posts, my product recommendations reworded as her insights, photos of gifts I'd suggested with captions about her intuition for gift giving. "Beth," Mom said slowly, "is this true?" Beth's composure cracked completely. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. I just wanted to be appreciated for something. Olivia's always been the smart one, the successful one I wanted to contribute to." "By stealing my contributions?" I asked. "I didn't steal them. We're family. Family shares." I stood up. Family shares. Family doesn't claim credit for each other's work and then call the person thoughtless behind their back. The room erupted in overlapping voices. Dad demanding explanations, Mom trying to mediate, Jake looking shocked as he realized his beloved laptop had come from my research, not Beth's generosity. But I wasn't done. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, my voice cutting through the chaos. "I'm going to continue my break from providing product research and gift suggestions. Beth can maintain her reputation using her own knowledge and expertise." I looked directly at Beth. "And if anyone asks me why I stopped helping with gifts, I'm going to tell them the truth, that I got tired of watching someone else get credit for my work while being called thoughtless." "Olivia, please," Beth started. "I'm not finished. From now on, when family members need advice, they can ask me directly and I'll get direct credit. Or they can ask you and see what your actual expertise produces. But the invisible labor stops now." I closed my laptop. "I'm going home. When you're ready to acknowledge what actually happened here, not just apologize for getting caught, call me." I left them sitting in stunned silence around a table full of food I hadn't helped prepare, dealing with a mess I hadn't created. The aftermath was swift and comprehensive. Without my research pipeline, the family's gift-giving became a series of expensive mistakes. Dad bought Mom a treadmill for their anniversary. She'd wanted a garden trellis. Mom got Dad a book about sailing when he'd been talking about wanting to learn woodworking. Jake spent his summer job money on a gaming chair that didn't fit his dorm room. But the most telling fallout was Beth's public unraveling. Her Facebook posts about gift-giving stopped abruptly. When relatives asked for her famous product recommendations, she stumbled through generic suggestions that led to returns and complaints. Her friend Sarah called me directly in July. "I don't know what happened to your sister's gift radar, but she recommended a baby monitor that doesn't work with our phone system and a stroller that won't fit in our car. I had to return everything." I didn't throw Beth under the bus. I just said, "Maybe you should ask her where she usually gets her recommendations." By August, the family dynamics had shifted completely. When Dad needed a new power drill, he called me directly. When Mom wanted to upgrade her phone, she asked me for advice. Jake started texting me tech questions instead of going through Beth. And Beth? Beth was learning to be genuinely helpful for the first time. She'd started taking actual classes. a course on interior design, a workshop on flower arranging skills that were her own, not borrowed from me. The real reckoning came at Thanksgiving. I arrived to find the family dinner much smaller than usual. Several relatives had started hosting their own gatherings after too many gift disasters from following Beth's recent advice. But the energy was different, calmer, more honest. Mom pulled me aside while I was setting the table. "I owe you an apology, sweetheart, a real one." I looked at her carefully. "We took you for granted. We let Beth take credit for your work because it was easier than acknowledging how much you were doing for all of us. And we called you thoughtless when you were the most thoughtful person in the room." She was crying now. "You were invisible because we refused to see you, and I'm sorry." That night, as the family sat around the dinner table, Dad raised his glass. "I want to say something. Olivia, we've all realized this year how much you've been doing for this family. The research, the advice, the care you put into helping us make good decisions. We took that for granted, and we took you for granted." He looked at Beth, who nodded miserably. "Beth has something to say." Beth stood up, her hands shaking. "Liv, I stole from you. Not money, but something more valuable. Recognition for your work and care. I told myself it was harmless, that we were family and it didn't matter who got credit, but it did matter. It mattered to you, and it should have mattered to me." She took a shaky breath. "I called you thoughtless when you were the most thoughtful person I knew. I made you invisible while building myself up on your work, and I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry." The table was quiet except for the sound of my nephew Jake clearing his throat. "Aunt Liv," he said, "I wanted you to know that laptop you researched for me, it's been perfect. It got me through my first semester, and I've been telling everyone at school that my brilliant aunt picked it out for me. The real story." I felt something loosen in my chest that had been tight for months. "Thank you," I said simply. "All of you." Christmas that year was different. I received 28 gifts, each one clearly chosen by the person giving it, each one imperfect and genuine. Dad gave me a book about data analysis he'd researched himself. Not quite my field, but close enough to show he'd paid attention. Mom got me a coffee mug with "World's Most Thoughtful Daughter" printed on it. And Beth gave me a small wooden box she'd made in her woodworking class, a place to store the gift cards and small tokens of appreciation. Family members had started sending me when they used my advice. "I wanted to give you something that came from my own hands," she said quietly. "Something I actually made." It was imperfect. The corners weren't quite even. The stain was slightly uneven, but it was beautiful because it was authentically hers. As I watched my family exchange gifts that December, I realized something had fundamentally shifted. They saw each other more clearly now. Without the performance of perfect gift-giving, they'd been forced to actually pay attention to each other's interests, needs, and personalities. Dad's gifts were practical but chosen with visible effort. Mom's were sweet and personal. Jake was learning to think beyond his own interests. And Beth was discovering who she was when she wasn't performing expertise she didn't possess. The extended relatives who had distanced themselves during the summer slowly began reaching out again, now asking me directly for advice and offering proper recognition for my help. After dinner, Mom found me in the kitchen. "How did you know?" she asked. "How did you know that disappearing would make us see you?" I dried my hands on the dish towel, considering her question. "I didn't," I admitted. "I just got tired of being invisible. Sometimes the only way to show people what you contribute is to stop contributing and let them figure out what they've lost." She nodded thoughtfully. "It must have been lonely." "It was," I said, "but not as lonely as being surrounded by people who couldn't see me." She squeezed my hand. "We see you now, sweetheart. We won't stop seeing you again." And for the first time in years, I believed her. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've watched someone else get credit for your work while you're called thoughtless or difficult, you're not alone. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for people who take you for granted is to stop making their lives easier and let them learn to value what you bring. Your contributions matter, your expertise has value, and you deserve to be seen. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.